So the first day / days of OTAs that were open to the media for the Minnesota Vikings just happened. So that means we got to see a lot of things in action. We got to see a lot of the new players for the first time, including the brand new quarterback room that includes JJ McCarthy and Sam Howell. Obviously OTAs is still a fairly early part of the offseason, but it is still pretty important and it's pretty cool to see a lot of the new guys in action. So in this video, I just kind of want to go over what we saw, any guys that stood out and looked good, and just overall break down everything from them over the last few days in a couple of minutes. Then after that, I'm going to talk about any news surrounding the Vikings and just everything going on with the team right now, because trust me, there is a lot. But first, before I get into everything, I would really appreciate it if you would drop a like and subscribe. It only takes 5 seconds, plus you can always change your mind. We are on the road to 60,000 subscribers, and with your support, I believe that we can get there super fast. Alright, so getting into some OTA footage, we can see JJ McCarthy getting some reps in, handing the ball off to the new running back in Jordan Mason, who the Vikings acquired, of course, in a trade from the 49ers. I expect the Vikings to be running the ball a pretty good amount this year, between Mason and, of course, Aaron Jones, who they re-signed, and an offensive line that they made a lot of improvements to this year, including adding Donovan Jackson, who will start at guard, and then Ryan Kelly and Will Fries, who played guard and center together in Indianapolis, and now will work together here in Minnesota. With a rookie QB, you need not only a run game, but good protection as well, so I think it is important that the Vikings made all these moves to help JJ McCarthy the best they could. Another thing we saw in practice was some throws to the wide receiver room that of course includes potentially the best wide receiver in the NFL in Justin Jefferson. As you can see here, he just makes an incredible catch along the sideline, just going up and snagging it with one hand. I mean, he is just unreal. And you could not have a better guy to go into your first NFL season with if you are JJ McCarthy. This room, of course, includes Jordan Addison, Jalen Nailor, and they added Rondale Moore, and they drafted the rookie Ty Felton in the 3rd round as well, which makes a pretty good, well-rounded wide receiver room for McCarthy to be throwing to. Sadly, the Vikings do not allow any 7-on-7 or 11-on-11 film to be recorded by the media, which is understandable, of course, because they do not want teams to have access to what they are doing. So these clips are generally just more drills and getting loose, but it is still cool to see these guys in action, like I said, for the first time this year. The rest of the clips, honestly, was just seeing the Vikings working on their handoffs and run plays. We see various things such as JJ McCarthy making some handoffs and Sam Howell as well. I really wish we got to see both these guys in action today, but sadly, just not able to. We saw them working on their motion plays as well as their I formation run plays. With the veteran and CJ Ham still back there at fullback, the Vikings have really done all they can to put the best talent around JJ McCarthy. And on the defensive end, they of course got way better, making many new additions, so I'm just super excited to see how this Vikings team responds after what was a disappointing playoff loss last year after a great regular season. Alright, now switching topics, let's go over some recent news and things going on with the Vikings right now, because all eyes are on this team with the Timberwolves season unfortunately coming to an end after they got blown out in Game 5 against the OKC Thunder. I'm sure many of you guys would like to forget that. So first off, I kind of want to just dive into some rumors that have been floating around of a potential Jalen Ramsey trade to the Vikings. The Vikings cornerback room outside of Byron Murphy is kind of a question mark, and with Jalen Ramsey's name floating around in a lot of trade talks, Minnesota has been mentioned as a team that could potentially land the 7-time All-Pro. Former Patriots corner and current CBS Sports broadcaster Jason McCourty agreed with this, saying that this would be a perfect fit because of the way that Brian Flores uses his defensive backs, moving them all over the place. He mentioned that using Ramsey as almost kind of a chess piece would be a lot of fun. Letting him play safety, slot, and outside corner, and getting him to blitz and do other things could potentially be very beneficial for this Vikings defense. Mike Renner of CBS Sports also spoke on this rumor. However, he was a little less nice about it, saying that the Vikings cornerback room is ugly and that they really need to trade for a cornerback. He said that if the Vikings think they are in a championship window, they need to be better at the corner position. That was his direct words. And it's kind of hard to disagree with him. When you really look at the cornerback room, like I said, outside of Byron Murphy, it's got guys like Mekhi Blackman, Isaiah Rodgers, and Jeff Okudah, who was once the number 3 overall pick, but at this point in his career, he has not lived up to that. I think this trade would be very good for the Vikings and would really shake up the whole NFC North. This unit is certainly a big story and is one to monitor throughout the rest of this offseason for the Minnesota Vikings. And speaking more of the said cornerback room, if they do not trade for a guy like Jalen Ramsey or even Trayvon Diggs, who has been thrown around in a lot of trade rumors, then the cornerback 2 battle is certainly one to watch this offseason. And we got some news surrounding that at OTAs. Even though it is very early in the offseason, it was worth to note that former shutdown Ohio State corner Jeff Okudah got the first team reps opposite of Byron Murphy when the team went live today, and newly signed Isaiah Rodgers was not at the voluntary session, but it is still interesting that Okudah got the reps at the corner number 2 spot. Okudah was once a great corner at OSU, and as I mentioned before, he was the number 3 pick. He has shown flashes of being a shutdown corner previously in Detroit, but overall he has just not been able to stay healthy and has not played up to that stature of being the number 3 overall pick. Okudah can be good, he has the talent, but I think this just further shows that this cornerback room needs a lot of help, and if they are serious about winning, I think they need to figure out a solution to instantly make this room better, and a guy like Jalen Ramsey just fits the defense so well and would help them tremendously right away, even though he is on the back end of his career, but it's just the experience to me that would be huge. Anyway, switching gears back to the offensive side of the ball, I think one situation to monitor is the wide receiver 3 battle, which potentially could become the battle for the 2 spot, which I will get into in a second. But for the Minnesota Vikings here this offseason, obviously we know Justin Jefferson, who even though he is the best wide receiver in the game, still showed up at OTAs, which definitely speaks about the leader he is and the culture of this team, because for my Cleveland Browns, unfortunately I'm a Browns fan, Myles Garrett didn't show up, he's over in Japan, so it is big when the best players show up to something like OTAs, because it is voluntary at the end of the day. Then they of course have Jordan Addison, who may eventually face a suspension for the misdemeanor DUI he was involved in. His court date is coming up on June 16th, so at least the Vikings will know pretty soon whether they will be without him for some time or not. That alone is certainly a huge situation to monitor this offseason. But the wide receiver 3 spot is a big battle because the Vikings do have Jalen Nailor, but they also brought in Rondale Moore, and then they drafted Felton, as I mentioned, in the 3rd round, so it'll be interesting to see these guys compete throughout the next few months. Anyways, reports are that Jalen Nailor has come in looking jacked, and it looks like he put on a ton of muscle. He also switched his jersey number from 83 to 1 for those of you who care about that. He really looks like he put in some serious work this offseason. He got way bigger. I'm excited to see what Nailor can do in 2025. So overall, I think these guys at the wide receiver position will be very important for the success of JJ McCarthy, and that's just stating the obvious, and it's great to see him back out there, and this is what he had to say about being out there over the last few days during OTAs, as well as what Kevin O'Connell had to say about how OTAs went as well.
I'm sure you're proud of this moment before a lot.
It feels amazing. You know, when you get it taken away from you, you take, every chance you get to be back out here and really appreciate it, really take the most out of it. And yeah, it's just nothing better than being out here with the boys playing some ball. So having a great time.
You look like you haven't missed a step since the surgery, or since before the surgery.
Yes, sir. I believe, there's a lot of things here and there that we got to always continue to improve on. And, I was just very happy with the way I prepared and, went about that, recovery process above the neck and being able to stay in the playbook and, really just feel, all the ins and outs of this offense. And, yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
You can't tell any difference since 2 years ago when you first came out here?
I honestly feel
physically
bigger, faster, stronger, to be honest with you. Yes, sir.
Darn near 100% participation. Had a couple things come up here and there, but to have really the totality of your football team here, in the month of May, working together and so much coaching, teaching, guys learning, growth, development, all the things that we love as coaches and our players know to get to where we want to get to this season. This is certainly going to be a part of it, and excited about what we have going on here on a daily basis. And still, as a ultimate reminder, it is the learning and teaching phase of the off-season program. So getting out in front of any rep questions, competition questions, tracking of completions and or handoffs, I'll go ahead and allow the time of the year to speak for itself.
So yeah, OTAs are always very interesting because it is the first time we get to see the whole team together as a unit. So it was very cool to see JJ McCarthy, Justin Jefferson, and all those guys back out there. And even though they have no pads on, it's still very important from the beginning to set those habits, set the tone, and just build up to what you want to be come week 1. So yeah, this is the team that's being labeled as one of those sleepers to potentially win a Super Bowl. I think they have the talent. Obviously, everything is laying on JJ McCarthy's shoulders right now. Who knows how he's going to be? He's a rookie. We haven't seen him in a game situation. Obviously, I do think it was the right move to move on from Sam Darnold. I think he's a great quarterback, but I don't think he was going to bring this team postseason success. I think he kind of capped out his ceiling. So I'm excited to see this new era under JJ McCarthy. That's really all I have to say for this video. Let me know how you're feeling about this team in the comments below. If you enjoyed this one, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't, because your support truly does mean the world. And also let me know what you would like to see next. And until then, I will see you all later.